turn down the classical. Okay, so I got a couple interesting questions, which I really enjoyed. They were, let's see, which of course right now I cannot find. This is what happens, as always. Here we go. Who were your inspirations when writing? So I would say almost all of these questions go hand in hand, because then it said, what did you listen to growing up? What inspired Betty Borderline? How long have you been singing? And were you ever in bands as a kid? So to mix the two of what did you listen to growing up and who are your inspirations when writing, I would say I went through my childhood. My father always played piano, like you're hearing now, so dramatically, but this is kind of my relaxation music. And he played a lot of classical, a lot of Mozart, a lot of Beethoven, and then he started writing and composing music. So I grew up on a lot of the originals, the classics, and based my structure around that, I think. And then, whereas my mother, on the other hand, she played Careth 101, so I would listen to Motown and to the Beach Boys and to Love Potion #9 and to Hit the Road Jack and don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. So it was a lot of like, and then Aretha, of course, like respect it just a little bit, baby. So it was the phases of like the female empowerment and also the really happy Beach Boys and the happy Surfies and the Beatles and then of course when I hit high school I found Radiohead. But prior to that, I think I went through my mini pop stage of NSYNC, where my crush was then Justin Timberlake, of course, the one who ended up being gay. But I love you, Lance. I do. I always will. You can call me whenever. Anyways, so my vocal idolist since I was a kid has always been Christina Aguilera, and she always will be, just because I think her voice has and emulates so much emotion, whether she's singing by herself, whether she's singing to an acoustic track, to a huge dance track, or simply an acoustic piano, or simply a simple raw piano track with a lot of orchestral, cinematic elements. You feel it, you hear it, you feel it in her voice, what she's singing about. And I felt that the first time when I was about 15, when she came out with that song, that album, Stripped. I mean, I loved her in high school when I was a teeny bopper, but then she came out with that song, I'm Okay, and it was like, it tore me to pieces, and that was right around the time when I was writing songs like that on the piano. I wrote my first ballad when I was 12, full piano and music and lyrics, and it was a happy song, but it was a love song, but I still don't know where it came from, seeing as I was the buck-toothed loser kid that had never even held hands with a boy, and this song was about a romance that seemed to have lasted thousands and thousands of years, and it was gone, and oh, how I wished I could have had them back. So maybe it was a moment of voodoo where somebody just took over my body. So how long have I been singing? I started singing probably around 5 when my dad would sit me down and or my dad would start playing piano and I would sit down next to him and just start, remember, just, Daddy, can you hear me singing, Daddy, all the bells are ringing, and I couldn't stop, and I probably had the most nasally pitched voice ever, but I thought I was Christina Aguilera in itself, and I would just rock and roll and like it was nobody's business, and I got a karaoke machine, and I just kept going. I was not in a band as a kid, but I did have a band when I was 19, when I was signed to First and 15th. They were incredibly talented musicians. My love goes out to you guys, all of you. Derek, you were such an incredibly talented guitar player, and one day maybe we'll kitch back together and do it again. And my drummer was unreal, and he was just so insanely talented. But I think the reason why they were all Berklee trained musicians, and I think had I not been shelved by Atlantic, because it was me, Asheroth, and Lupe who were signed to that label, and I think had I not been shelved, I wouldn't be here right now. So I believe in everything happening for, everything happens for a reason. And that's what inspired Betty Borderline, to answer your last question. I went through quite a bit in my life, and this is a long question to answer, so I'm going to give you a brief one, because I will be answering this a lot more, I feel like, and I'm going to have to answer a lot of Betty Borderline questions. First off, I don't condone violence. I don't condone murder. She is a recreation of a dissociative personality that I had for a hot minute after reoccurring traumatic episodes of violent men. And when people overgo traumatic episodes, their brain shuts down and they can't take it anymore. It's like going to war and seeing someone's leg get blown off. Your brain does what it has to survive, and you become this avatar version of yourself that's almost as dark and as gruesome as that actual incident. And so, Betty is just a recreation of the person that I became to walk through that traumatic situation, and she's just me healing and trying to create a statement in the world that male violence and sexual abuse and domestic abuse and any kind, as small and minuscule to as big as rape, and she's not always going to be killing, but she's going to be the female vigilante that does not stand for any kind of neglectful, abusive, manipulative, cruel behavior against another human being. Being bullied as a child, very cyberbullied, I know how traumatic that is, and I'm a huge advocate for bullying. I have my little Betty Beats Bullying campaign that I hope to one day really have the ability and the resources to put a lot into, because I know what it can do, and I know that, now that I'm older, I understand where bullying comes from, and that it's, a lot of the people that do bully because they have their own bullies at home, whether it's their parents or this or that. And so the whole point is Betty Borderline is she is the female Dexter. She's Sexter, like I call her. And so she's going to kill so that it creates this dramatic, theatrical. It's going to be very theatrical, like a movie. Their music videos will. So that you feel like you're watching this movie where you're like, fuck yeah, the bad guy got fucking Betty got him. And then, you know, there's a whole long-term plan here. But really, it's just about making things right. It's about letting those people know you can't get away with it. But I don't kill, and I don't condone killing. So I'm not like telling women, let's go on a killing spree and just fucking take them all out. It's not what I'm saying. But I'm here to heal. Meagan is here to heal. I'm here. Meagan's music is all about healing, you know, because I write about the pain in my life, and it's very, very vulnerable. And the goal of that is so that people who experience what I've experiencing don't feel alone, you know, and that's the whole goal of being a real, true, great songwriter that I hope to accomplish, is that my music makes others feel companionship in their, you know, pain or loneliness or heartbreak. And then Betty makes them feel companionship in their, you know, victim, in them being a victim, and then makes them feel justice has been done. So thanks for listening, and tune in next time for the next Q&A.